This video is going to cover trig exact values. This is something that is super important to know. Basically, what a trig exact value looks like is something like cosine 5 pi over 4. You're going to first identify which quadrant it's in. That's going to tell you if your answer is positive or negative. You're then going to find the reference angle, which for radians is pretty easy because it's just going to be like the denominator, pi over 4. Then you're going to answer. So let me show you how this works. Cosine 5 pi over 4. Firstly, 5 pi over 4 is in quadrant 3. Cosine is negative in quadrant 3. So if I know that my answer has to be negative, I'm going to go ahead and put a negative where my answer goes, that way I don't forget. The reference angle is pi over 4. So all I have to do is go to pi over 4, find the cosine of it, root 2 over 2, and write that down. And then I just make sure my answer is negative. Let me show you another. Sine 2 pi over 3. 2 pi over 3 is in quadrant 2. Sine is positive there. My reference angle is pi over 3. So all I have to do is go find pi over 3. Find the sine of pi over 3. So my answer is root 3 over 2. The next one, cosine 7 pi over 4. This is in quadrant 4. Cosine is positive there. My reference angle is pi over 4. So I just go to pi over 4, and I find the cosine of it, root 2 over 2, and that's my answer. Sine 7 pi over 6. This is in quadrant 3. Sine is negative there, so I'm going to go ahead and put a negative where my answer goes. That way I don't forget it. My reference angle is pi over 6. Find pi over 6. Find the sine of pi over 6, and that's your answer. Just make sure it's negative. Next one. This one's a little different because cosine pi over 2 is a quadrantal, meaning it lands on an axis right here. So when this happens, I write that coordinate out. This coordinate is at 0, 1. So it doesn't have a reference angle. It's not in a technical quadrant. All I need is the exact value. Well, the exact value is just the cosine, the x value of it, so 0. The next one would be tan of pi. This is also a quadrantal. Pi is right here. So what I do is I write the coordinate for that. That's at negative 1, 0. Also, another piece of advice I'd give you is anytime you see tan, write y over x. It'll make your life a lot easier. So I'm not technically in a quadrant. I don't have a reference angle. And all I have to do is answer y over x. Y is 0 over x is negative 1. 0 over negative 1 is 0. Secant 5 pi over 3. Okay. First of all, 5 pi over 3 is a quadrant 4. Now, you have to remember that secant is cosine flipped. It's cosine flipped. So, why that's important? Cosine's positive in quadrant 4. So I know my answer has to be a positive. My reference angle is pi over 3. So all I do is I find pi over 3, and I find the cosine for it, 1/2, and I'll go ahead and write that down. But since I want secant of that, now I have to flip it. So my answer is 2 over 1, or just 2. Then lastly, tan of 3 pi over 4. This is in quadrant 2. Tan is negative there, so I'm going to go ahead and put a negative on my answer. My reference angle is pi over 4. I told you anytime you see tan, write y over x. Because now you're going to have to go find pi over 4 at your reference angle. And you have root 2, I'll do it over here, root 2 over 2, comma, root 2 over 2. Here's my x, here's my y. You have to put y over x, so that's going to look like this. Root 2 over 2 over root 2 over 2. Flip the bottom fraction and multiply, so it becomes 2 over root 2. Everything cancels. It's 1. So my answer is 1, but remember, It was in quadrant 2, and tan is negative there. So my answer is actually -1. So that's how you do trig exact values. Again, they are super duper important to know. And the way to do it, this right here is super helpful. That tells you if your answer is going to be positive or negative. Knowing these reference angles, that's going to tell you the value to write down. And that's all there is to it. Hope this video helped.